Miss T today comes to our skilled PT. She has foot surgery before, got better, but now feels unstable, getting in and out of the tub, putting on pants, and fell recently at the airport and feels less steady. So the problem we identify here is poor reactive postural control. And the baseline measure we use here is the Fullerton Advanced Balance Scale. She has a 30 out of 40, and specifically on reactive postural control, she has a 2 out of 4, which means that she requires more than 2 steps to recover balance, but she restores balance independently. Moving on, our short-term goal for her is that in 2 weeks, Ms. T will be able to recover from the reactive postural control test with 2 or less steps independently, which is at least a 3 out of 4.
All right, and then the intervention we selected is basically going to be working on the ankle, hip, and stepping strategy. And basically how we're going to do that is, and you'll see in the video shortly, is first our baseline exercise will just be a neutral bilateral stance balance basically test with external perturbations from a therapist held band that would be wrapped around basically the belt line of the patient. And so if you're the clinician, you're sitting on a stool behind the patient who might be standing at a balance bar, and you have the band around like their ASISs, and you're gonna, for 30 seconds, apply an external perturbation from 3 different intensities, basically a light one, a medium one, and a stronger one. The lighter ones are gonna be for ankle strategy. The medium ones, hopefully, as a skilled PT, you can elicit kind of a hip strategy where they're kind of hip hinging and dropping that butt back. And then the larger external perturbation is going to create such a force that they have to actually step off away from the wall and work on stepping. And so ideally how we would break this up is it would be a 30-second set, and every 5 seconds the PT would elicit a stronger external perturbation to basically try to create a hip strategy or a stepping strategy. And that'd be every 5 seconds. And then the time in between, they might even be working on ankle strategy, just standing and balancing, certainly with the balance device on the progressed version of our modality, which you'll see in a bit, or intervention, sorry, not modality. But basically those 4 seconds in between the larger ones, you might work on ankle, and then every 5 seconds of the 30-second set, you might try to get them to hip hinge, use their hips, or step. And so our regression would be they have handheld assistance on a balance beam. Not too much, just enough to kind of give them some psychological security that they're safe and they feel a little more comfort with something on their hands. And if they do actually need it, in the case that they lose their balance, they can grab it. And nothing else changes other than that. Same time, same idea. And then our progression would be, again, the same exact thing, except for now we might put them on top of an instability device, whether that's an AirX pad. You'll see in the video we found something kind of wonky at our gym that we used. In hindsight, the one we used for our progression might not be optimal for the stepping strategy because they are on quite a surface, as you'll see in a bit. So we might, to make it safer for the stepping strategy, use an AirX pad so they don't need to step so far down off of a box. But again, this is so contextual that if you have someone more advanced, you have a little more flexibility with them. We feel like you're still in a position to guard safely, sitting behind them. But again, it's very contextual. If this is someone who has really tough balance, you might not feel comfortable with this intervention. But in our case, Miss T is pretty advanced, and she's just starting to notice a little instability. So we would be confident that we could do all the things you're gonna see in this video with her. And then if you can scroll down, you want to scroll. All right, and so we talked about the intensity. Every 5 seconds, we would apply a stronger pull to elicit the hip for the stepping. We might do this, she might come to physical therapy 2 to 3 times a week, and this specific exercise is gonna just be 3 sets, 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, so a 1-to-1 work to rest ratio. So it might take us 3 minutes to do this entire intervention, but it might be within a 30 to 45 minute therapeutic exercise session. So we would bill it as such. So that's the code, the CPT code we chose to use is just TheraX, because we would do a number of different exercises in addition to this one exercise we're going to show you here in a second. And if you scroll down, yep, and then supervision, we would use close supervision. Hopefully the patient can do this independently, but you're right there. We don't want to do close contact because it would disrupt the whole goal of this intervention, which is dynamic balance and reaction. So our hands are there, we're ready to guard, but we wouldn't actually be touching the patient. Safety constraints, you know, there's a risk of balance fall issues. We're going to have them on the wall or near a balance beam. So again, we're guarding. For the most part, we're safe here. And that touches almost everything. The home exercise program, we don't feel confident given that this takes a lot of judgment from the clinician and their opinion of how much force to elicit for the hip or for the stepping strategy. So we wouldn't recommend that the patient goes home and does this with a friend or family member. We would probably only have them do this intervention with us in the clinic, which is also why we justified it as a skilled intervention. So that's it, and here's the actual video demonstration that we did. Thank you. All right, so for this intervention example, Ray's gonna be my patient. I'm gonna play the role of the clinician. We're gonna be working on some ankle, hip, and stepping strategy. I'm going to demonstrate our baseline intervention, what we might do as a regression, and then what we might do as a progression as well. And I'm going to do it in that order. So first, let's just do the baseline intervention. So Ray is going to be my patient. He's going to be standing in front of a balance bar, but not quite using it yet. That's going to be our regression for now. He can have his hands ready, or even by his side if you're more confident in his level of balance. So for now, Ray, you can have him here or just by your side. This would be a physical therapist. All stools are special to physical therapists. This would just be like a rolling stool, but for now, we have a white bucket to use. So I would place this band at about his belt line, probably on his ASIS, so it's more comfortable for him. All right, now I would stand, sit on my stool. Basically, this would be a 30-second bout where I'm giving some small external perturbations for ankle strategy. And every 5 seconds, I might give a large thrust to elicit a stepping strategy or a medium thrust to elicit a hip strategy. And those 4 or 5 seconds in between those larger external perturbations, I'm just challenging his ankle strategy. So 5 more seconds, and I might do a stepping. I can also guard here comfortably. They're a little more advanced. And then maybe a hip strategy. Step, hip, and so on. All right. So our regress version would be the same thing, except for now, Ray, you can have your hands nice and light. I wouldn't instruct the patient to grab all the way, all right? But just have them lightly touching. It helps reinforce the comfort that they're right here already, and if they actually do need it, they're a little more regressed, they can grab on if they feel like they might fall, and I'm also guarding. So here's our regress version, regressed. So challenging ankle, maybe hip. That maybe could have been a stepping, and so on. All right, and then for the fun part, let's step out for a second. We might use a instability device of sorts, maybe an AirX pad. In this case, we've got this wonky looking thing, but we actually really liked it. It challenges your proprioception and somatosensory system pretty well. So if they're a little more advanced, they've been making a lot of progress with our baseline intervention, we might move on to something like this. And nothing changes other than what he's standing on. So Ray, coming over your head. Again, belt line, ASIS, comfort. I'm on my stool. All right, so we go 30 seconds, 5 seconds of medium or large amplitude external perturbation for now. More ankle strategies definitely be used. I might pull, there's hip. The stepping on this, a little weird, they might have to step off. We might use more of a smaller pad for the stepping. So those are all 3 of our interventions. Thank you, Ray. That's it.